And you mentioned there about the eastern side. It's interesting you mentioned that because historically a lot of expats, North Americans, have moved to the beach areas, which you also mentioned, places like Coronado. But that peninsula has really seen an influx on the eastern side, at least. Do you expect, or have you seen the same sort of thing happening on the western side? Is there more people building houses down there, or North Americans looking for slightly more off the beaten track?
Yes, we've seen the number of expats, the number of people building houses in our area of the Azuero increased a lot over the last 5 or 6 years. The eastern side has just always been more developed. There's larger towns along that coast. There's Petitee, which is a little colonial type town that attracts many expats. And so because of the population density over there, there are more closer, immediate available amenities like shopping and things like that, which attracts the expats as well. For our side, the nearest amenities are Santiago. The nearest town is Santiago, which is about an hour to an hour and a half from Los Islotes, and so that distance puts some people off because they want to be closer to things. But for the people who are interested in a lifestyle, an outdoor lifestyle, access to great beaches, great surfing, hiking. The national park is only about 15 minutes away from our front gate. It offers a more interesting lifestyle unless you want to be around all those people. For me, I'd rather not be around all those people on the east side.
Sure. And Kathleen, you touched on Santiago there. I know there's been a lot of developments in infrastructure, which is something you mentioned about Panama earlier. Can you talk a little bit more about what's been happening in the local area and also what sort of towns people expect closer to this? Because I know there's small towns near the project. What's the sort of community like around the project as well?
The community is definitely emerging, but that it is emerging. In other words, at least there is some community today emerging. When we first started spending time in this part of Panama, the west coast of Veraguas, the west coast of Azuero Peninsula, there was really no one else like us out there. We were truly one of among the first few who were paying any attention to this coast. And so, I don't know, going back 7 or 8 or 9 years ago, when we first went to Santiago, for example, and first traveled down this coast, we were very surprised if we heard anyone speak English. We would stay at a little hotel in Santiago called the Hacienda. We stayed there because it was the only hotel in Santiago at the time. And when we first started spending time there, we would, and La Hacienda is a nice, cute, nice little local hotel, but it wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything we would have chosen had we had an option. And no one there spoke any English. Everything was very laid back and slow and easy, and there didn't seem to be any sense of urgency to anyone about anything. Then a year or two after we started spending time there, and we'd go back out, continue our scouting and research, and we'd stay again at the Hacienda, we would notice and we would remark, boy, did you see there were 2 other tables in the restaurant for dinner where people were speaking English. And over time this has grown so that now there are options for hotels in Santiago, including a hotel called Mykonos, which is, for all the world, you might see on in a European coastal town. You might see it on the coast of the Med. It has that kind of a feel. It's definitely a very new, modern, comfortable hotel. There's another hotel, the Grand David, that's been renovated and is, again, upgraded and very modern and comfortable. Now Santiago has a feel of hustle and bustle about it. So fast forward 7 or 8 years, and this is one of the fastest growing cities in Panama, and that is a symptom of the fact that this is one of the fastest growing regions in Panama, and a region that is attracting much more attention from Panamanians, including the Panamanian government and especially the current Panama president, the current administration. President Varela is interested in this part of Panama. He's actually come out to visit. He's the first Panamanian president ever, I understand, to come out and spend time on this western coast of the Azuero Peninsula. He came and we had lunch with him, took him to Los Islotes days and toured him around. He has sent out his Minister of Tourism, his Minister of Small Business Development, and many others. They've targeted this part of Panama now. Of course, we had no way of knowing that this would happen, that Varela 8 years later would be voted in as president and that he would have an affinity for this part of Panama. But we're awfully glad now to see it happening because this support and interest from the current administration and the current government, coupled with the organic growth that's taking place in Santiago from a business and an investment point of view, is meaning big changes for this part of Panama, and I think is going to accelerate all the good things that we're looking for, including property values appreciation.
Fantastic. And